Voting is the #1 way for citizens to make their voice heard and to affect the decisions made in their country, state, and city. Not only is it our civic and patriotic duty, it is also our best tool to advocate for our community needs. For decades, Texas Latinos have consistently lower turnouts than non-Latinos. This low turnout can mean that less attention is given to Latino issues, because elected officials tend to prioritize groups that put them in office. Think about it. Elected officials want to represent and fight for the people that got them elected. It comes down to the concept of building power. If a greater percentage of the Latino community turns out to consistently vote, we can build power and affect change. By establishing this culture of high voter turnout, we can ensure that everyone's interests are represented.
One reason often cited for the lower turnout among Latinos is a fear of backlash from voting. While backlash may be common in some countries, the U.S. voting system is set up differently and is designed to protect the voter. You will not be asked about your family's resident status or documentation during registration or at the polling place. Also, your ballot is secret. The government can tell whether or not you voted, but has no idea who you actually voted for. This protects you from being unfairly targeted for voting against the person who ends up winning the election.
People often say, "My vote doesn't matter."
My vote doesn't matter.
But we have an incredible opportunity in this country to make our voices heard during every election. Nationally, over 42% of eligible citizens did not cast a vote in the 2012 presidential election. In local elections, the turnout is dramatically lower. In Irving, Texas, over 94% of registered voters did not cast a vote in the 2016 city council race. In a city with 94,000 registered voters, the race was decided by a single vote. Think about that in the context of the Latino community, which is growing larger and larger in Texas. The state itself projects that by 2020, Hispanics will outnumber non-Hispanic whites in Texas. But that won't mean much in terms of political power if we aren't turning out to the polls for every election. Make your voice heard and take control of your community's future. Now is the best time to start making voting a priority.
In order to vote, you need to register before the election. To be eligible to register, you must meet 5 criteria set by the state of Texas. First, you must be a U.S. citizen either by birth or by naturalization. Second, you must be a resident of the county in which you are registering. If you live in a different county, that is where you should register to vote. Third, you must be 18 or older on election day. If you are turning 18 before the election day, you can submit your registrations 2 months before your 18th birthday. Fourth, you are not a convicted felon. However, if you had completed your sentence, probation, and parole, you may be eligible to register. Fifth, you have not been declared mentally incapacitated by the courts. If you meet these 5 criteria, you are eligible to register. To do so, you will need to complete a registration form, which you can find at a few different locations.
So, where do you go to get a registration form? One way is to register in person. You can do this either through registration drives conducted by deputy registrars that are held throughout the state, or by visiting the voter registration office for your county. When registering in person, you will complete a green form. There is no ID required when you show up to register, but because your name needs to match on your registration card and ID, it's a good idea to bring your ID with you to register. Once you have completed the green form, the registrar will give you the receipt off the bottom of the form. You can also complete a mail-in registration form, which is white, not green. You can find these cards at the post office, library, and other government buildings. These registration cards come in both English and in Spanish. You can also find this form online. It's important to note, however, that you must print out the completed form and physically mail it in. It may look like the completed registration form is submitted when you hit the submit button, but it's not. The completed form must still be printed and submitted by mail. Once you have submitted your registration, either in person, which is the green form, or by mail, which is the white form, You will receive your voter registration card in the mail. The registration card will contain your registration information as well as your precinct number, which tells you where to go to cast your ballot on Election Day. If you have not received this card, your registration is not yet complete.
If eligible, you can register to vote at any time. However, if you want to vote in an upcoming election, you must submit your registration at least 30 days before that specific election. That means it is a good idea to submit yours as soon as possible. Don't put it off. Once you're registered, you do not have to keep registering for every election. It carries over from year to year. The only time you have to update your registration is if you move. We're excited to offer this series for free, but we need your help to share it with anyone who wants to learn more about the voting process. Check out our website and follow our YouTube channel for new videos in the coming weeks.